Hello Rebel and class, my name is Tim Wynot and I'm submitting my video presentation hopefully via YouTube if I can get this figured out. And my goal is to tell you what I did my final iSearch essay on. I decided to do it on something that I'm interested in. It is coaching and motivational speaking. And the reason I picked that is because I grew up the son of a preacher. And I saw the influence that he had on people's lives, and I saw the impact of his words. In the middle of a Sunday sermon, he'd be preaching, and you could just see lives being touched and changed and motivated. And so I grew up under that influence every Sunday, getting together and watching people receive that kind of influence. So that inspired, that's what I knew about the profession. And what inspired my iSearch was I wanted to know how to take that into the professional realm and know how to make a living doing that. He made a modest living doing that. I don't want to make a modest living. So I began to research that, and my interview was with a motivational speaker and coach. His name is Greg Aloya. He's also a decorated veteran, highly decorated, was part of a special forces unit after he was in Vietnam, and then also after Vietnam he was used to be very effective to protect our freedoms. And that is part of the basis of his message when he goes out and he does his presentation. So I sat down with him and began to ask questions that I soon found weren't going to be super effective. I asked him things like, how do you deal with competition, and what kind of fee structure should you have? In other words, how much money can you make, and how many people are out there trying to take that money from you? And he saw through that false motivation. And that's not really my heart. It was just where I was going with my paper. And he began to answer questions that I didn't ask. And he began to tell me about the message that you have to send to people and trying to impart in them something that will cause them to want change. And as a result of that, I began to see more clearly that it is all about that message. And if you have an effective message, if you're able to speak into hearts, if you're able to be sincere and to be real and have something that's applicable and true, that they can go home and they'll be different. Their marriage will be different. Their association with their fellow workers will be different. Their production at work will be different. They'll be inspired to change, because what I can't do is change people. All I can do is steer them and turn them in a direction towards change, and then they'll have to do it. They'll have to be at the gym in the morning. They'll have to be up earlier, working on the reports longer, or earlier and staying later in the day at work. They're ultimately the one that's responsible for whether they apply what I say to their lives. And so I need to make it applicable, was the message that I received from Mr. Loya. And then finally, I needed to know whether the sacrifice of not having a home base to go to work every day. I work at Kathy Fallow Auto Center. I'm the general manager there, and every day I go to work and I have an office that is very safe and secure, and there's advantages to that versus I'm going to an airport today and I'm going to be in St. Louis, and then I'm going to come home and I'm going to miss my son or daughter's soccer game, and I'm going to have to decide that what I'm doing is worth that. Is there enough value? Am I making enough money to compensate for missing a soccer game by taking them on a weekend vacation or something? I don't know. So that's what I discovered. It was great because there was a bit of a selfish motive involved in that. You said we could pick something that we're interested in, and I picked that since I look to maybe do that as a profession in the future. So thank you for the opportunity to explore that, and thank you everybody for your time. It was great doing the class with all of you and learning more about you. Take care.